What if I told you that there were habits that you currently lack that are keeping you from becoming rich? Would you want to know what they are? In this video, I will share with you 7 habits all rich people have that you can implement into your own life to realize financial success. And if you're new to the channel, then hit the subscribe button below for more life-changing content. From an early age, I have always been curious as to what separated the rich and the poor. When I would see a rich person driving around in a fancy car, I would wonder how they were able to afford such an expensive vehicle, while my parents could barely make the payments on the modest vehicle they had. It made me wonder how 2 people living in the same city, with the same 24 hours in the day, could be living such different financial lives, and so I took it upon myself to learn what the rich were doing that was driving their success. This led me to reading numerous books on the success of the world's richest individuals, and through my studies, I began to notice a trend. Book after book, person after person, I started to notice that each of the individuals I studied had habits that they employed in their lives that directly contributed to their success. Then about 10 years ago, I stumbled across a book that confirmed everything I had been studying for years. The book, Rich Habits: The Daily Success Habits of Wealthy Individuals by Tom Corley, was a byproduct of a 5-year study where the author observed the habits of 233 rich individuals and 128 poor people who were living in poverty to see how their daily lives contributed to their financial position. The author noticed significant differences between the 2 groups as it pertained to their day-to-day activities, and through this observational study was able to pinpoint the 7 habits that made these 233 individuals successful, which are the following. Number 1, they're persistent. While we generally think of persistence as more of a personality trait, it's certainly a habit that can be learned and practiced over time. When faced with adversity, wealthy individuals keep pushing through, knowing that success will come in due time. The value of persistence is well explained in the book The Dip, written by marketing master Seth Godin. Godin illustrates the dip as a long curve between starting out and making it to the top. It's where you find the resistance that can wear you down and make you want to quit. But the rich understand that all good things take time, and they are willing to ride out the dip to realize the success that lies on the other side. In fact, becoming a millionaire takes longer than you would probably expect. While it's true that from time to time we will see young people like Mark Zuckerberg and Kevin Systrom becoming billionaires in their earlier years, it takes the average person 32 years to become a millionaire. Moreover, only 4% of people are able to eclipse a 7-figure net worth in a still lengthy 27-year period, meaning that if you want to become rich, being persistent and very patient is a must. Number 2, they set specific and attainable goals. Whether we realize it or not, we're constantly setting goals for ourselves. Anytime we look to the future and think about what we'd like to have or do, we're essentially setting a goal for ourselves. The problem with many of these goals, of course, is that they aren't specific and they aren't necessarily realistic. For instance, your goal may be too vague. You may say that your goal is to become rich, but what does rich even look like? Or your goal may be unrealistic. For instance, if you're working for minimum wage and want to amass enough money to retire next year, then that goal will be nearly impossible to obtain. The average person's financial goals are a large factor in why they aren't rich. If you ask them what their goals consist of, they would say something like, "My goal is to retire at 65, or my goal is to make 6 figures one day." In short, their lackluster money goals resemble their mediocre financial lives. The rich, on the other hand, make a habit of setting solid financial goals. In fact, about 80% of the wealthy are obsessed with pursuing goals, which includes the creation and review of short, medium, and long-term goals. Corley found that wealthy individuals consistently set specific, attainable goals. These goals were realistic and had to have a specific set of actions that would need to be carried out in order to be met. For instance, instead of saying, "I would like to earn $1 million this year," a more realistic and specific goal might be, "I will bring in an additional $25,000 this year by increasing my production capacity." Assuming it's actually possible to increase production, this is a goal that can realistically be obtained through careful planning and hard work. One very effective method for creating specific and attainable goals is by using the SMART goal framework. This method requires your goal to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. For instance, using the SMART goal framework, your financial goal could be save $12,000 in my high-interest savings account in 12 months by setting up $1,000 monthly deductions with my employer. Having a robust goal that satisfies all the elements of the SMART goal framework is much more likely to have you succeed than creating vague goals like save money or become rich. Number 3. They have mentors. Plato had Socrates and Aristotle had Plato, and for 93% of wealthy individuals, having a mentor is a key driver in long-term success. While finding a mentor can be challenging, the payoff can be huge. This is why almost all major companies employ mentorship programs in their organizations, as the sharing of knowledge is critical to the business's success. In fact, 71% of Fortune 500 companies have mentorship programs, claiming that building these relationships improve employee performance, productivity, and innovation. Moreover, employees who had mentors are promoted 5 times more often than those who don't. But beyond increasing your output and moving into higher salary ranges, one of the main benefits of mentorship is saving time. Working with a mentor can allow you to leverage their years of experience, which you can then use to carve your own path to success. These mentors can also help you avoid unpleasant mistakes. In fact, in a 2016 Harvard Business Review study, 84% of CEOs said that their mentors helped them avoid costly mistakes, which is just one of the many benefits that having a mentor can have on your own success. Number 4. They are positive. According to Corley's observations, the wealthy individuals he observed generally had a positive outlook on life, were upbeat and happy, and were grateful for what they had. And if you think that positivity doesn't impact financial success, then consider this. Many of the richest people in the world made their wealth by starting businesses. However, 20% of businesses fail in their first year, 30% of businesses fail in their second year, and 50% of businesses fail after 5 years in business. Finally, 70% of small business owners fail in their 10th year of business. In short, starting a business comes with its trials and tribulations, and in order to ride the waves of uncertainty and hardship, you must maintain a positive outlook. But what if you don't run your own business? Can positivity still bring you financial success? The simple answer is yes. A 2008 study revealed that positive people are happier at work and perform better in their tasks, which equated to better chances at advancement and overall compensation. Therefore, if you want to start living like the rich, you need to maintain a positive outlook on life. Number 5. They educate themselves. Based on a vast amount of research, we can confirm that the saying, "the more you learn, the more you earn," is entirely accurate. Studies find that 88% of wealthy individuals spent at least 30 minutes each day reading in order to expand their knowledge. In addition, 85% read 2 or more books per month on an ongoing basis. And no one better exemplifies this statistic than Warren Buffett. The investing mogul spends on average 5 hours a day reading newspapers and corporate reports, and admits that this commitment to reading has helped him make some of his best financial decisions. But the rich don't limit their education to just books. Take the example of Canadian entrepreneur and multimillionaire Dan Lok, who invests more than $500,000 a year into his education in the form of courses, coaching, and many other learning opportunities. Now, there are definitely people who aren't rich that read and invest in their education, but one of the main findings from Corley's study pertaining to education was that wealthy individuals were able to translate what they learned into actionable information that they could apply in their lives, whereas the poor couldn't. In essence, the rich made a habit of prioritizing self-education and used what they learned to reach their goals and improve their lives. Number 6. They avoid lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is defined as the act of increasing your standard of living in order to match your increased income, and the rich know that avoiding this phenomenon is critical to building wealth. You see, for the average person, when they begin to make more money, their level of spending rises accordingly. For instance, you may be fine driving around in your $20,000 sedan when you're struggling to pay your bills. But once you get a big promotion or your business takes off, you may find yourself wanting to splurge on that fancy $100,000 sports car. And this is one of the big differentiators between the rich and the poor. When the rich make more money, they forego the desire to spend the money today and instead sock it away into savings and investments that grow in value and provide financial resources that can be used in the future to maintain their current standard of living. In financial terms, delaying gratification is known as delay discounting, and it takes place when someone decides to discount the value of future rewards to immediately gratify themselves, even though accepting a lesser reward isn't exactly rational. The rich know that future payoffs will be greater than present rewards, and studies strongly support how this restraint from present gratification can lead to larger income realizations in the future. In a study of over 2,500 people, participants were asked whether they would hypothetically accept a smaller sum of money, $500 USD, or a larger sum, $1,000 USD, after a delay, which could be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, or 1 year. When the researchers used machine learning algorithms to model the relationship between individuals' tendency for delay discounting and the other self-reported variables, they found that delay discounting was more predictive of income than age, ethnicity, race, and height. Therefore, if you truly want to become rich, you must remain diligent in your conservative spending ways. Number 7. They surround themselves with success-oriented people. As the saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and wealthy individuals seem to intuitively understand the importance of being around other goal and success-oriented people. Whereas the average person will spend time with whoever is around, the rich are intentional in nurturing positive relationships to ensure that they grow over time. The rich often spend time with other wealthy individuals because being around other successful people can act as a motivational tool that will spark their own enthusiasm and drive. Moreover, being surrounded by others who are making things happen allows them to model their best practices after one another, which only further progresses the growth of their wealth. Author Tom Corley suggests dedicating 30 minutes each and every day to nurturing such a relationship. This can mean being a sounding board, giving advice, or just generally being a helpful companion. As you build and nurture this relationship, that person is likely to reciprocate and become a trusted and valuable supporter. Thanks for watching. If you want to go from the life you have to the life you deserve, then hit the subscribe button now.